Today's recipe is a delicious homemade pizza, and I'm making the pizza dough. I just added 2 packages of yeast. It's active dry, not the instant yeast. Use that to 1.5 cups of warm water. Add 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 cup of olive oil, and then 2 teaspoons of coarse salt. 4 cups of all-purpose flour. You just stir everything together, so no gradual adding here. Stir until a sticky dough forms. Just add a little bit of oil to a clean bowl and then transfer your dough. Swirl it around. I like to turn it over. Cover with plastic wrap and let it rise in a warm but not too hot place for an hour, at least until it's doubled in bulk. When your dough is risen, get your toppings ready. Today I'm making a springy vegetable pizza with 1 pound of asparagus cut into pieces, a pint of cherry tomatoes, also halved, 1 can of the marinated artichoke hearts that are drained. Season that with a little bit of salt, and that's your topping. Stir it together. Make sure that when you drain your artichoke hearts, you save some of the oil because you're going to brush the edges of the pizza for a nice golden color. Stir that together, set it aside. Here's the dough. This dough is actually enough for 4 whole pizzas. If you're not making 4 pizzas, separate it into the size that you want, wrap it up, and freeze it. And then you can take it out and defrost it, just like the frozen pizza dough that you buy at the store. Knead it just a couple times. This is where your kneading comes in, but it's very minimal. Cut into 4. Then you roll each piece into a 14-inch oval. Transfer it to a baking sheet. Add half of your vegetables. Have your oven preheating to 500 degrees. Pizza wants a really hot oven. Brush the edges of the dough, the exposed parts, with some of that marinade from the artichokes, and then pop it into the oven for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, it's nice and golden brown and almost completely cooked. Now it's time to add the cheese. About 1.5 cups to each pizza. This is Gruyere, your choice obviously of what kind of cheese you like. And then back in the oven just until the cheese melts and gets a little bit of brown spots on top. Look at that beauty. Homemade, start to finish, dough included pizza. Spring has sprung and it's time for me to spring some new recipes on you. It's a creamy risotto with mushrooms and spring herbs. I have 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter and then add a shallot that's been minced. Then you can add your mushrooms. You want to start getting them a little bit golden brown. You can season with some salt and pepper. When the mushrooms have softened just a little bit, you don't have to get them completely cooked. You can add your rice. It's a cup of arborio rice, which is the classic risotto rice. And then you can add your wine, a half a cup, white wine, nice and dry. And then what you want to do is just cook it out until it evaporates almost completely. What I have is 6 cups of chicken broth that I've brought to a simmer on the back of my stove. So what you do is you cook until most of this liquid is absorbed before you add the next amount of liquid. What you're looking for is for the rice to be tender with a tiny bit of bite, but not crunchy in the center. And that's when you can stop adding your liquid. So now you add your finishing touches. 2 more tablespoons of butter. Stir that in. And then some grated Parmesan cheese. This is 2 tablespoons, and then your fresh herbs. I have some chives and some chopped parsley. But come on, guys, this is amazing. And it's a classic. It's spring herb and mushroom risotto. Hey, soup lovers, you want to add a little bit of spring to your soup? I have just the recipe for you. In fact, it's so springy, we just called it spring vegetable soup. Start off by sauteing your scallions. I have 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Add my scallions. While your scallions are sauteing and getting translucent, you can cut up a pound of new potatoes. When your scallions are translucent, which mine are, add your potatoes, 4 cups of chicken broth, and 4 cups of water. What you want to do is bring this to a boil and then cook it until the potatoes are basically almost done, about 12 minutes. Over here, I'm just going to prep up some asparagus. These need to be cut into 1-inch pieces. Then 1 bunch of flat leaf spinach. To finish the soup, you'll need about 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh dill. Or cilantro, that would be good. But I'm using dill today. You want to bring your liquid back to a boil so the asparagus will cook. It shouldn't cook for more than about 3 minutes. Then you're going to add 2 cups of frozen peas and the spinach. Stir in the spinach and the peas at the same time. I'm gonna turn it off because I don't want it to overcook. Then you can add your dill and your scallions. Add those, and dinner is served. I love it. You know what would be really good with this? A really nice piece of fish. You could poach the fish right in the soup if you wanted to. Oh my God, that would be crazy. But it's perfectly delicious on its own too. If you think you can find a spring your soup recipe, I encourage you to send it in. But for my money, this one wins. It's our spring soup.